Alright friends, let's get straight to the point. Another holiday is approaching. Christmas, Valentine's Day, your best friend's birthday, it doesn't matter. Tell me honestly, what do you feel the exact second you look at the calendar? Joy? The anticipation of a miracle? Or do you feel quiet panic, a heaviness in your stomach, and a desire to hide in a bunker until it's all over? You know this script. You will be running around crowded shopping malls again, pushing through lines, burning your credit card buying things nobody needs, for people you might not even really like. And then comes the climax. You will sit at the table with a tight, fake smile, unwrapping the 10th box containing shaving foam or a reindeer sweater and saying, "Oh my God, thank you. This is exactly what I've dreamed of my whole life." Inside, everything is screaming, "This is total nonsense." But on the outside, you keep playing the role. This isn't just holiday stress. This is a global social performance in which we are all voluntary hostages. I call this the paradox of the mandatory gift. And today, we are going to take this trap apart, screw by screw. The topic of this deep dive is why we actually hate giving gifts and how this cute ritual makes us poor, miserable, and hypocritical. Spoiler, it's not because you are a greedy Grinch or a bad friend. It's because your ancient brain, which is used to exchanging chunks of mammoth meat in a cave, has been brutally hacked by modern marketing. Your biology is playing against your wallet. In the next half hour, I will show you the dark side of the holiday industry. We will break down the neurobiology of guilt, the economics of status, and the psychology of fakeness. And most importantly, I will give you a step-by-step plan on how to exit this rat race. Stop buying love with money and reclaim your right to honest holidays. Buckle up. It's going to be harsh. Many won't like what I have to say. But this truth will save you years of your life and thousands of dollars. Let's go. To understand why you are sweating over buying a scented candle for a distant cousin, we have to travel back 50,000 years. We have to look at the operating system of your brain. You see, in the Stone Age, there were no banks, there were no insurance companies, there was no police. Your only safety net was your tribe. Imagine you are a hunter. Today you got lucky. You killed a massive bison. It is too much meat for you to eat alone. It will rot in 3 days. So what do? You give it away. You share it with your neighbor, Og, who caught nothing today. You aren't being nice. You are being strategic. You are making a deposit in the bank of social favor. By giving him meat, you create a debt. Og now owes you. Next week, when you are sick or unlucky and Og kills a bison, his instinct screams, "Feed him, or the tribe will judge me." This is called the reciprocity instinct. It is hardwired into our DNA. It was the glue that kept the tribe alive. If you were the guy who took meat but never gave it back, you were a parasite. And what does the tribe do with parasites? They exile them. And in the Paleolithic era, exile meant death. A human alone in the wilderness lasts about 3 days. So your brain equates not giving a gift with death by tiger. This is why you feel that irrational, sick panic when you realize you forgot to buy a present for someone who bought one for you. Your logical brain knows it's just a box of chocolates. Your primal brain screams, "We are breaking the contract. We will be kicked out of the cave. We are going to die." This mechanism was perfect for 50,000 years. It ensured survival. It built alliances. But then something happened. We built civilization. We invented money. We created markets. And most importantly, we invented consumerism. And this is where the glitch happens. This is where the system breaks. We took this ancient sacred survival mechanism, the exchange of vital resources, and we hijacked it to sell plastic garbage. Think about the difference. In the cave, the gift was a resource. It was food, a tool, a fur. It solved a problem. In 2026, the gift is almost never a resource. It is a symbol. When you buy that expensive watch, that designer bag, that useless gadget, you aren't helping the other person survive. You are performing a ritual. You are saying, "Look, I have resources. Look, I value our alliance. Please don't kick me out of the tribe." But here is the tragedy. Because we live in a world of abundance, nobody actually needs your gift. Your friend can buy their own socks. Your partner can buy their own phone. So the gift loses its utility and becomes pure social weight. When you hand someone a gift today, you are not saving their life. You are handing them a burden. You are handing them an obligation. Watch their face closely next time. For a split second, before the fake smile appears, you will see a micro expression of stress. Their brain is calculating, how much did this cost? Do I have something of equal value? Am I in debt now? We have turned friendship into a transaction. We have turned love into accounting. And the worst part? We are playing a game with a negative sum. Economists have a term for this: deadweight loss. Let's say you spend $100 and 3 hours of your time finding a gift. To you, the cost is high. But the receiver? They didn't choose it. Maybe they don't like the color. Maybe they already have one. To them, the value of that item might be only $20. $80 of value just evaporated into thin air. Multiplied by billions of people every Christmas, we are talking about creating incinerators for our wealth. We are burning money to keep warm the fear of being alone. But the marketers know this. They know you are terrified of the social death. That is why every commercial in December isn't selling a product. It is selling safety. Look at the diamond commercials. Look at the car commercials. They don't talk about the specs of the car. They show a happy family, a crying wife, hugging children. The subtext is brutal. If you buy this, you are loved. If you don't, you are a failure. They are weaponizing your own evolution against you. They are holding a gun to the head of your social status and demanding your credit card number. And we comply. Year after year, like obedient sheep, we march to the slaughterhouse of the shopping mall. We go into debt to buy things that end up in a landfill 6 months later, just to quiet that ancient voice in our head that says, feed the tribe. But there is no tribe. There is just a corporation laughing all the way to the bank. So now that we understand the mechanism, the why, we need to look at the consequences. Because the price we pay isn't just financial, it is emotional, it is psychological, and it is destroying the very relationships we are trying to protect. Let's talk about the emotional blackmail of the holiday season. Let's talk about the emotional blackmail of the holiday season. Have you ever noticed how exhausted you feel after a family gathering? You didn't run a marathon. You just sat on a sofa and opened boxes. So why do you feel like you need to sleep for a week? It's because you were performing, you were working. Sociologists call this emotional labor. And during the holidays, you are working overtime. The moment you are handed a gift, the spotlight turns on you. Everyone is watching. Your face must register the perfect mix of surprise, gratitude, and joy. Even if you hate it, even if it's the third scented candle you've received that night, even if the sweater is 2 sizes too small, which creates a whole new complex about your weight, you have to smile, you have to say thank you, you have to lie. This creates a cognitive dissonance in your brain. You are feeling disappointment, but you are projecting delight. That friction, that burns glucose like crazy, that is stress, and it goes both ways. The giver is stressed too. They are watching you like a hawk, waiting for validation. Did she like it? Is she faking it? Did I spend enough? The air is thick with anxiety. We aren't connecting. We are all just terrified actors in a play called The Happy Family, hoping nobody forgets their lines. But why do we give these bad gifts in the first place? This brings us to a hard truth, the narcissism of the giver. We love to tell ourselves that giving is selfless. I just want to make them happy. Bullshit. Psychological studies show that most people give gifts to signal something about themselves. When you buy your partner a Peloton bike or a gym membership, are you being generous? No, you are signaling that you want them to be fitter. You are trying to mold them. That is control, not love. When you buy your child an educational toy that teaches coding instead of the video game they actually begged for, you are projecting your ego. You want to feel like the parent of a genius. You are buying a prop for your own fantasy of parenthood. We don't give people what they value. We give them what we value, and we expect them to be grateful for it. This is why so many gifts end up in the back of a closet. They were never about the receiver. They were monuments to the giver's ego. And corporations? They absolutely love this. They have taken this confusion and weaponized a concept you've probably heard of, the 5 love languages. One of the languages is gifts. Marketers have convinced an entire generation that if your partner's love language is gifts, then you must spend money to prove your love. If you love her, buy diamonds. If you love him, buy a watch. This is the monetization of affection. We have started using products as a shortcut for intimacy. True connection requires vulnerability. It requires listening. It requires time. That's hard. Buying a Gucci bag is easy. It's a transaction. We throw goods at relationship problems instead of talking. I worked late and ignored you all week, but here are some AirPods. Are we good? I haven't visited my mother in 6 months, but here is a giant bouquet. Am I a good son now? We are trying to buy our way out of guilt. We are turning our relationships into a marketplace where forgiveness has a price tag, and we are teaching our children to do the same. Look at YouTube. Unboxing videos have billions of views. We are wiring kids' dopamine receptors to crave the moment of acquisition, not the moment of play. We are raising a generation of addicts who equate love with plastic. And to ensure you keep playing this game, the retail industry has built a machine to bypass your logic. It's called neuroatmospherics. Have you ever walked into a mall in December and felt your brain turn into mush? That is design, not accident. They play slow tempo, nostalgic music. Research shows this slows down your heartbeat and your walking speed. You move slower. You look at more items. You spend more money. They are literally drugging you with sound. They saturate the visual field with red. Red is the color of biological urgency. It raises blood pressure. Combined with sale signs, it shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles logic and budgeting, and activates the impulsive limbic system. You aren't making choices. You are reacting to stimuli like a lab rat, and before you know it, you are standing at the checkout, holding a robotic dancing Santa Claus you don't need, handing over a credit card you can't pay off. The system is rigged, the game is fixed, and the price for winning this game? The burden of ownership. Because once the wrapping paper is torn off, the magic dies instantly, and you are left with the object. You have to store it, you have to clean it, you have to move it when you buy a new house, and you can't throw it away. Why? Because of the endowment effect. Oh, I can't throw this away, grandma gave it to me. It was a gift. So your home becomes a museum of guilt. You are paying a mortgage to house objects that drain your energy every time you look at them. The gift is not a blessing. The gift is a parasite. It eats your space. It eats your mental clarity. So we have established that the system is destroying your wallet, your relationships, and your mental peace. The question is, how do we get out? How do we escape the matrix without becoming a social outcast? It requires strategy, it requires a spine, and it requires a completely new way of thinking about generosity. Let's talk about the exit plan. But you might be thinking, wait, isn't this tradition? Isn't this about the spirit of Christmas? Isn't this ancient? No, that is the biggest lie of all. Most of the traditions you are going broke to uphold were not created by your ancestors. They were created by marketing departments in New York and Chicago less than 100 years ago. Let's look at the facts. You think Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a piece of folklore? No. Rudolph was created in 1939 by a copywriter for Montgomery Ward, a department store solely to sell coloring books to children. He is not a legend. He is a marketing funnel. You think the modern image of Santa Claus, the jolly fat man in the specific red and white suit, is ancient? Much of that imagery was standardized by Coca-Cola in the 1930s to sell sugary water in the winter. We are not celebrating culture. We are worshipping at the altar of 20th century ad campaigns. We are treating commercial inventions as if they were religious duties. And because we don't know this history, we defend these traditions with our lives. We say, but we've always done it this way. No, you haven't. You have been trained to do it this way to keep the factories running. And who benefits the most from this training? It's not even the stores. It's the banks. Let's talk about the January debt cycle. The financial industry loves the holidays more than anyone else. They know a secret about human psychology: time inconsistency. In December, your brain is flooded with dopamine and oxytocin. You feel generous. You think, I'll put $2,000 on the credit card. I'll pay it off in January, no problem. Your December self is optimistic, but your January self is depressed, cold, and broke. When the bill comes in January, the dopamine is gone, the tree is dead, the toys are broken. But the debt is alive. And because you can't pay it all off, you pay the minimum. And that is the trap. The average American takes 4 to 6 months to pay off their holiday debt. That means you are paying 20 to 25% interest on a plastic toy that was forgotten in 2 weeks. You are effectively paying the bank a monthly subscription fee for the memory of a single morning. This is systematic wealth extraction. They use your emotions, your love for your kids, your fear of looking cheap to turn you into an indentured servant for Visa and MasterCard for half the year. Is that generosity? No, that is voluntary slavery. And now, let's add the final ingredient that makes this trap inescapable in the 21st century: the comparison engine. 50 years ago, you only had to compete with your neighbors. If Jones got a new car, you felt a little bad. Today, you are competing with the entire world. You open Instagram. You see influencers unboxing gifts worth your entire yearly salary. You see perfect families in matching pajamas, which by the way were sent to them for free by brands. Your primal brain doesn't understand that this is staged. It thinks, this is the standard. If my holiday doesn't look like this, I am failing. This creates relative deprivation. Even if you have enough, you feel poor. Even if you bought good gifts, they look like trash compared to what you see on TikTok. This steals the last shred of joy you might have had. You can't just enjoy the moment. You have to stage the moment. You have to photograph the pile of gifts to prove to your digital tribe that you are successful. We have turned the holiday into a content production studio. The kid opening the gift isn't just a kid anymore. He is a prop for your story. Smile, Timmy. Look excited. Hold the box higher. We are sacrificing the experience of the moment for the image of the moment. So let's recap the trap we are in. Our biology forces us to reciprocate to avoid exile. Marketers hijack this biology with lights and music to make us spend impulsively. We buy things nobody wants because we are projecting our own ego. We go into debt because banks exploit our optimism. And finally, social media tells us that whatever we did, it wasn't enough. It is a perfect storm. A machine designed to extract your time, money, and happiness, leaving you hollowed out by January second. But here is the good news. Once you see the machine, you can break the gears. You don't have to burn down the Christmas tree. You just have to unplug the power cord that connects it to your wallet. We need to talk about the alternative. What does a decommercialized holiday actually look like? And trust me, it is not boring. It is the most liberating thing you will ever experience. Now we have to move from the living room to the office. Because if family gifting is a tragedy, corporate gifting is a hostage situation. Let's talk about the absolute nightmare known as Secret Santa. In theory, it sounds fun. In reality, it is a tax on employment. Think about the psychology here. You are forced to spend your own money you earned by trading your life hours, to buy a piece of junk for a co-worker you barely know. But it's not just about the $20. It's about the political minefield. In a tribe, you give gifts to equals. In a corporation, you are navigating a hierarchy. If you draw your boss's name, you are paralyzed. Buy something too cheap? You look disrespectful. Your career might suffer. Buy something too expensive? You look like a suck-up. Your colleagues will hate you. You are walking a tightrope of social signaling where the only winning move is not to play, but you can't not play. Mandatory fun is the hallmark of a dystopian regime. This is corporate feudalism. The serfs are expected to offer tribute to the lords, or at least exchange trinkets to prove they are part of the culture. It is a mechanism to enforce conformity. The person who opts out is labeled not a team player. And in the modern corporate world, not a team player is code for first to be fired. So you pay the tax, you buy the funny mug, you fake the laugh, and a piece of your soul dies under the fluorescent lights. But let's zoom out. There is another demographic that is being targeted with laser precision, but in a totally different way. Let's talk about gender-based psychological warfare. The marketing machine does not treat men and women the same. It exploits different insecurities. For women, the weapon is guilt. Look at the ads targeting mothers. The subtext is always, if you don't create the perfect magical Christmas morning, you have failed your family. They sell the experience, the matching pajamas, the perfect decorations, the homemade cookies. They burden women with the mental load of the holiday. The woman isn't just buying gifts. She is the event planner, the logistics manager, and the emotional regulator. If the holiday feels average, the woman internalizes it as a personal failure. She buys more to compensate. She is buying relief from guilt. For men, the weapon is inadequacy. The ads targeting men are transactional. Jewelry ads, car ads, tech ads. The message is brutal. Your value as a man is directly tied to your purchasing power. He went to Jared. Happy wife? Happy life. They reduce the male role to that of a wallet. If you can't afford the diamond, you aren't just broke. You are sexually and socially inadequate. You are a weak provider. It pushes men to overextend, to take on overtime, to hustle harder, just to prove they are alpha enough to put a luxury box under the tree. It is a pincer movement. They attack women's need for nurture and men's need for status. And the result is the same, the transfer of wealth from your bank account to theirs. But here is the darkest secret of the industry, the one they really don't want you to know, the myth of the return. You might think, well, if they don't like the gift, they can just return it. No harm done. Wrong. This is the ecological crime of convenience. When you return that sweater or that gadget to Amazon or Walmart, do you think it goes back on the shelf? In many cases, the answer is no. It is cheaper for the corporation to throw it away than to inspect it, repackage it, and restock it. The logistics of reverse supply chain are expensive, so billions of dollars of perfectly good returned goods are liquidated. They are sold by the ton to mystery pallets, or worse, they are shredded and dumped in a landfill. We are talking about brand new items, things that required oil to make, water to dye, fuel to ship. They travel halfway around the world, get opened, get returned, and get buried in the ground. This is capitalist nihilism. We are turning natural resources into garbage at record speed, with a brief stopover in your living room to make you feel anxious. So when you buy a safe gift, thinking they can just return it, you aren't solving the problem. You are feeding a machine that is literally choking the planet. You are participating in a cycle of waste so massive it is hard to comprehend. And why? Because we are afraid to look someone in the eye and say, I didn't get you anything. We are destroying the biosphere to avoid 5 seconds of social awkwardness. This is why this topic matters. This isn't just about saving money. This is about stopping a machine that runs on your anxiety and spits out waste. So we have covered the history, the biology, the psychology, the corporate politics, and the ecology. The trap is complete. You are surrounded. But there is one final lock on the cage we need to break. It's the story you tell yourself about generosity. We need to redefine what it actually means to be a generous human being in the 21st century. Because right now, Your definition is upside down. Here is part 5 of the deep dive. This section exposes the gift card scam, a multi-billion-dollar financial trick, and the dark psychology of power dynamics, how gifts are used to dominate, not just appreciate. This connects directly to the slave to money theme. Continuation. Part 5, the currency scam and the power play. We need to talk about the most absurd financial instrument ever invented by the human race. It is the ultimate proof that we have lost our collective minds, the gift card. Let's analyze this transaction with cold logic. You take $50 of universal currency, cash, money that can be spent anywhere, on rent, food, gas, or investments. It is liquid freedom. You trade this $50 for a plastic card that can only be spent at one specific store, often with an expiration date. You have voluntarily destroyed the liquidity of your own capital. You have downgraded your money. Why? Because giving cash is considered tacky. Society tells us cash is cold. A gift card shows you put thought into it. Thought? The thought that I know you shop at Amazon? Everyone shops at Amazon. It is the laziest thought in the world. But here is the scam. The corporations pray you buy gift cards, not because they want you to shop there, but because they hope you don't. There is a term in the industry for this. It is called breakage. Breakage is the amount of money loaded onto gift cards that is never redeemed. The card gets lost in a drawer. You forget the balance. It expires. Do you know how much money Americans lose in breakage every year? Billions of dollars. That is pure profit for the companies. It is free money. They sold you air. When you buy a gift card, you are essentially making a donation to a Fortune 500 company in your friend's name. It is the stupidest financial transaction possible. And yet, we do it because we are afraid of the taboo of cash. Now let's go deeper. Let's talk about the dark side of receiving. We assume the giver has the power, but the gift is a weapon. In sociology, there is a famous theory by Marcel Mauss. He argued that a gift is never free. A gift creates a hierarchy. The person who gives is superior. The person who receives is subordinate until they can repay the debt. If someone gives you a gift you cannot afford to reciprocate, like a luxury car or an expensive vacation, they are not just being nice. They are dominating you. They are establishing status. They are saying, I have resources you do not. You are now in my debt. This is common in toxic family dynamics. The controlling mother-in-law who buys the young couple a house. It looks like generosity. It is actually a leash. I bought you a house so I get to decide how you raise your kids. I paid for the wedding so I choose the guest list. This is the Trojan horse gift. It comes wrapped in a bow, but inside it is full of conditions and control. And because of the reciprocity instinct we talked about earlier, you can't say no. If you refuse the gift, you declare war. If you accept it, you accept the chains. This turns the holiday table into a battlefield. Siblings compete to see who can give the better gift to the parents to win favor. Parents use gifts to bribe children or play favorites. Look, Daddy bought you the PS5. Mommy only bought you socks. Who loves you more? We are using consumer goods as ammunition in a psychological war for affection and dominance. And what about the perfect host syndrome? It's not just about the objects, it's about the event. We have convinced ourselves that hospitality means performance. You can't just have friends over for a beer. You need a theme. You need matching napkins. You need a Pinterest-worthy spread. This raises the barrier to entry for human connection. People stop inviting friends over because the house isn't ready, or I don't have time to cook a feast. So we end up isolated. We choose loneliness over imperfect socializing. We let the standard of Martha Stewart perfection kill the ancient practice of simply sitting around a fire with your tribe. The system wants you isolated, because when you are isolated, you scroll more. When you scroll more, you see more ads. When you see more ads, you buy more stuff to fill the void. Community is free. Consumption costs money. Therefore, the system destroys community to sell consumption. We are almost at the end of the rabbit hole, but there is one final philosophical layer. The reason we fill our lives with gifts is because we are terrified of the alternative. We are terrified of silence. If we stop buying, stop wrapping, stop unboxing, what is left? We would have to sit in a room with our family and actually talk. And for many people, that is the scariest thing of all. The gift is a buffer. It is a distraction. It gives us something to look at so we don't have to look at each other. Look at the shiny toy so you don't notice that we have nothing in common anymore. So the exit strategy isn't just about saving money. It is about facing the reality of your relationships without the buffer of commerce. Are you ready for that? Let's move to the grand finale, the manifesto of the free man. How to execute the zero gift life and actually become happier, richer, and more respected. You are still here? Good. That means you are part of the 1% who actually wants to understand the code, not just consume the noise. Let me leave you with one final thought. A secret that the retail industry spends billions of dollars trying to hide from you. It is called the hedonic treadmill. Have you ever noticed what happens when you finally get that thing you wanted? The new phone, The expensive shoes? The car? You feel a spike of joy. Dopamine floods your brain. You feel like a winner. But how long does it last? A week? A month? For a new car, studies show the joy lasts about 90 days. For a smaller gift, like a piece of clothing, it lasts about 48 hours. And then you return to your baseline. You go back to feeling exactly how you felt before. But now, you are poorer, and you have a new object to worry about. So what does the brain do? It says, that wasn't enough. I need the next thing. And you start running again. You are running on a treadmill. You are sweating. You are exhausted. You are burning your life energy. But you are not moving forward. You are staying in the exact same place of emotional satisfaction. This is why billionaires are often depressed. They bought the island, they bought the jet, and they realize the void is still there because you cannot fill an internal hole with external plastic. It is like trying to quench your thirst by drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get, and eventually it kills you. The only way to get off the treadmill is to step off, to realize that enough is not a number in your bank account. Enough is a state of mind. The moment you realize you don't need the gift to be worthy, you become dangerous to the system, because a man who wants nothing cannot be controlled. A man who is happy with a quiet room and a good book cannot be enslaved. Be dangerous. Be satisfied. Now go, turn off the screen, and look at the real world.